Are you ready for some football? A Monday night party? Hey, this is rockin' random, Hank. Ready to get the good time started. We've got the teams on the field and we turned up the lights. All my rowdy friends are back for Monday night time.
Good afternoon, everyone, and once again, welcome to Walk the Talk Sports. The best sports talk show south of the Big Apple, east of the city of brotherly love, and back again here in the library at Encore, and we have a lot to talk about. But once again, Alex, I'm still hurting and still tired from the big weekend we had for the bocce disco party. What a hell of a time we had, and I'll tell you, we danced the night away.
Yeah, I'm still myself, Rob, trying to recover from that. It was a fantastic night. Everyone was out in full force, not only just bocce club members, but folks throughout the village. And one thing, it was awesome because we were able to, our philosophy, Rob, is never to say no.
That's right.
We had village folks in the lobby that wanted to buy tickets on the spot. Luckily, we had a few free spots, and we were glad that they were able to come in. And what a night it was! With the folks from KLVW, what a kickoff! That video that they put together for us was over the top, and like you're going to talk about it, really just set the stage for the night. It was really a fantastic night.
You brought everything to life, and it set the tone. And so many people said, wow. And you know what was great about it, from what I heard? People were looking at that video all night to figure out, who is that? Who is she? Do I know that? Am I right? Are you wrong? So that was, I'm telling you guys, you raised the bar. KLVW has raised the bar for so many things. Seriously. Give yourself applause.
Yeah. Really quick, Rob, it's funny, even today, I've read on Facebook a lady in the village that said she has watched that video 12 times since we posted it on Facebook. So, you know what? People love it. People, that's what we're here. We never want to say no. We want to make it a great, fun place to come. So I'm glad they enjoyed it. I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. And you know what? I can only tell you, look out for what's next. Just look out.
And you know what? For $6, guys, where can you go wrong? Right? Yeah. Okay. Enough bocce talk. All right. Now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of sports. Baseball. Okay. Yankees look like they're going to finish in first place. They look strong. The only obstacle I think they have is, of course, they got to go through Houston. But you know what? If they continue, if they get hot, they could beat Houston. If they get some kind of pitching in between, it could happen. As far as my Mets, they're in a dogfight. They've been in a dogfight the past month and a half. Atlanta just doesn't lose, man. The Braves just don't lose. So I expect that to go down to the last week. I think the Mets have 3 games left in Atlanta. I think the last week or the week leading up to the last few games of the season. So that should be very exciting. Alex, you want to talk about the West Coast feed?
The West Coast, obviously we've talked about this in the past with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Actually this weekend, unfortunately by beating my San Diego Padres 11-2.
Shucks.
They were the first major league team to clinch a playoff berth, and it's actually their 10th consecutive postseason that they'll be playing in. I believe they hold a 96-43 record, 20 games in front of the Padres. I think 8 games in front of the Mets.
Yeah.
And my Padres are struggling. They're still in that wild card chase, but they're sitting below Atlanta, Philadelphia. So it's gonna.
But they have some injuries, right? I mean, they have. They
do have some injuries,
but of course the Tatis thing blew it out of the water, right?
So we'll see. We got a few weeks left here. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it should be. I can't wait. There's going to be a lot of baseball coming, and I think if it goes the full tilt Baseball will be played into November, believe it or not. So there you go. So now we're going to talk about football, which just occurred this past weekend. The last game of the first season, the beginning of the season was last night. Seattle beat Denver. That's good for his Chargers and my Raiders, but we'll get into that later. But I'll just talk about the local teams first. The Jets, as usual, had a tough go against the Ravens. Offense, nowhere to be found. Defense played so-so. But you know what? As a long-time suffering Jet fan, I have to say, and I will admit, our season will be over by the end of September. 4 weeks into the season, we'll be still winless. And once again, I have to say, just end the season. Jets. You know, and I'll just say this before the last thing I'll say about the Jets. When the coach from, who's their coach now, Saleh, took over the Jets, his motto was all gas, no brake, meaning we're going to go full throttle, no problem. Well, I can say a year and one game into the season, he's not even driving the car. So I don't know where we're going, I'll tell you that. But I'll tell you, the Giants had a great win. And I give a lot of credit to the coach. When they converted that 2-point conversion late in the game to pull the game out, good for them. You know why? Because a coach has to get the confidence of his team. And he put that on them to say, you know what? You can do this. And they did. So maybe that will set the tone for the season. I honestly think the Eagles and the Giants will battle for the division. You know, maybe Washington. Dallas is hurt now with Prescott being out. I guess, is he out for the...
They got Dak is reported to be out 6 to 8 weeks.
Whoa, that's half a season. That's tough. So that's as far as football on the East Coast. But now we get into the 4:30 game, and Alex is probably going to chirp to me because I'm a Raider fan, and his Chargers beat my Raiders. Go ahead, Alex.
Thank you, Rob. Before we start.
Oh, jeez. You should let me wear the hat. Maybe next time. That's right. We
all right. As we talked last week, the last time we filmed the show, Rob and I, obviously, our friendship, the line is drawn when he is a Las Vegas Raider fan and I am grown up a Charger fan. Well, it just so happened that this Sunday they played each other for the first game of the year. It was a good game, but obviously the Chargers won. I really wanted to come in here with some sort of a loser cap or dunce cap or something. I didn't have time to get it.
Give it time, folks.
I busted his chops all, ever since Sunday, but it was a great win. But we had talked about before, that division, that AFC West, the Raiders came back and made it a great game. A few mistakes on both teams. Obviously, as a Charger fan, I suffered a little loss. My wide receiver, Keenan Allen. Yeah. I think he may miss the next game this Thursday with a hamstring injury, but it's all good. My only fear was we're on a short rest. We're playing Thursday night in Kansas City, and wow, Kansas City, did they look good on Sunday. You had Mahomes throwing 5 touchdown passes. Again, that AFC West, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like we've said it before, Alex, it's must-see TV. So. When those games come on at 4 o'clock, 4:30, whatever, man, you better sit in your chair, get what you have to eat, and don't move because it's going to be the shootout at the OK Corral. I mean, that's the way it's going to be with those quarterbacks and those receivers. It's going to be over the top. It is.
Absolutely. It's funny. Rob and I agreed that on the first game of the year, we would not be in each other's homes, just for that reason. So moving forward now, our teams will meet again.
Yeah, I think in December, right? Yeah. Early December.
And we'll spend that. We'll watch.
Yeah, it'll be a holiday feel kind of party, but we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
Priscilla, you're gonna have to help us on that.
All right.
Fantasy.
We talked about this on the last show. We were super excited to start here in Leisure Village, Leisure Village West Fantasy 2022. So obviously, I know a lot of folks probably don't know a lot about fantasy football, and we encourage you to join in next season. But we had We have 8 teams in our league, all Village residents.
Yeah.
I hope and I really believe, I think they're having a great time. There's plenty of trash talking going back and forth via text messaging, but I will tell you, and it was a struggle, but Alex did beat Stephanie Lombardo this weekend.
Just bit.
They
Yeah.
did. So we had out of the 8 teams, obviously 4 of us won, 4 of us lost. It's the first fantasy game of the week of the season. And so,
It's a long season, Alex.
It's a long season. It is.
Season, Alex.
It is. And we're looking forward to it. It's a lot of fun.
That's right.
We've had a lot of feedback from folks didn't even know we were doing it. So we'd encourage you next year, hey, let's make it a 12-team league.
Right.
Anyways.
No, we will. We'll have more teams enter the fantasy for us next year, and it should be a lot of fun because, like, the banter goes back and forth. I mean, the text. I mean, it's just comical. But Alex, explain to our audience when you called me. I think it was Sunday, and and we were talking about the games, and you were asking me, Rob, I don't see that. Where do you get that? I said, Alex, don't you have the red zone? Now, here's a San Diego Charger fan now, folks. Now, listen to this. He didn't know he had the red zone. The red zone is where, and let me explain to our audience, what the NFL does has a separate station, and they call it the red zone because once you get inside the 20-yard line, that is the red zone where you're going to score some points. So they switch game to game to game. So if you're a fantasy fan, you get to see everything. So Alex, not to my surprise, didn't know he had the red zone. So there you go, Alex. You can thank me.
You're absolutely right. Guilty as charged. I had no clue what channel it was on.
That was great.
You would think that I would know that, but
Yeah.
trust me, within minutes it was fixed.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
So.
But that is football. Okay. Now we briefly, the NBA hasn't started. I guess they're starting to practice, and the same thing with the NHL. But briefly, 3 things. I'll just touch base on each team, the local teams. The Knicks, Jalen Brunson and R.J. Barrett, which is new to the team. They've grown close. I guess you could say the chemistry is working so far. But being it's only practice, it's not even game time yet season. But that's a good start, especially for the Knicks. All quiet on the Brooklyn Nets front. I mean, they're still, the front office is still trying to maneuver players. I don't know what they're going to do, but you know what? I think what the lineup they have now, they're going to go into the season with. And the 76ers, they have a new combination, and they're trying to get into as far as the forward position. They're still a good team, but still a lot of new faces as far as, again, in that forward position. The NHL, I have no news. I mean, it's been very quiet. And that's, pretty much it. But I think the exhibition season starts the end of next week. And I guess camps open up this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. And that is the NBA and the NHL. That's a wrap on that. I think in golf, I just have one thing. Scotty Scheffler, who was in the lead for the FedEx Cup for almost the whole summer, but fell short to Rory McIlroy. But he was voted the PGA Tour Player of the Year. Great job, Scotty. And that's a wrap on golf. Alex, you have anything?
On the last show, we talked about, not only we talk about local sports, the 2 main local high schools we have near this leisure village, near our homes, being Manchester Township, Jackson Liberty,
and the Toms River.
in the Toms River schools, absolutely. So I wanted to stay up on that. I'm hoping in the future that we can. I actually reached out to Manchester. I talked about it last show. They have a brand new coach at Manchester Township, Coach Farrell. And I'm actually waiting to hear back, but I would love to have him come on because I'm going to tell you what.
That's great, Alex. Good.
Manchester
That's a good
Township High School, since we talked to the last show, they've gone 2-0. They're starting their season where they had not a great season last year. They've started since the last show at 2-0, and they're slotted to play on the 16th. Matawan.
Yeah.
But they won their first game against Lakewood, which was one of their main rivals, and then obviously on the 9th they beat Toms River East, putting them at 2-0, starting off with a brand new coach in Manchester, like that. So
yeah.
Of course, the other high school we covered was Jackson Liberty, and they're sitting at a 1-1 record. They beat Keensburg,
yes,
I think we talked about, and then they took a shellacking from Matawan
or Manahawkin. Matawan, okay.
And that's absolutely who Manchester's getting ready to face up against here on the 16th. So
that should be a good game. A 2-0 team playing there. That should be good.
Absolutely. So and one of the other things we talked about. Obviously, we wanted to encourage to put a little different twist on the show from local sports. But even sports within the village, there's so many of you out there that play a sport. If it's golf, matter of fact, I'd heard a rumor. It was like a week ago. Wasn't there a local? It was a golf tournament here in the village, and didn't
Gloria? Yeah,
Gloria?
I think in the ladies, she won the flight C. So they have 3 flights. A, it depends on your handicap. That's how they judge it. So A, B, and C. She won the C flight in golf tournament, and congratulations.
So.
She is a bocce member. She plays pickleball, but congratulations,
Absolutely.
Gloria.
And she shared that news.
Well
She shared that news with us, and I encourage all of you. Like Rob had mentioned before, you do something great in pickleball. You win one of the local golf tournaments here in the village. We joked around with our buddy John. You catch, I think he's the only one catching fish. So maybe you catch a big fish.
So he says.
I accused him. The last fish I saw, I said, John, I think I saw that same fish 2 months ago. And it could have been, but it was a different picture. But one other thing that we talked about, obviously, us living here in the village, there's a lot of us that have student athlete grandchildren. Maybe you still have a child in high school. Well, I don't know. Grandchildren. So, and we reached out and we asked you to get with Rob or I and tell us about.
Shoot us an email.
Tell us about your student athlete or your grandchild that's an athlete. And you know what? I did get a response, and I want to read it. I think it's incredible. This email that I received actually came from one of our trustees, Joy Carmody, and she should have every reason in the world to be proud. She has her grandson, Carney. See if I can read her email here. Started playing baseball at the age of 4 in the Holbrook Little League. It looks like he lives in Jackson, New Jersey. Since then, he travels. He's been traveling since the age of 9. I won't know some of these abbreviations. PBR, he's 4th in the nation for throwing velocity and 9th in pop time. He's already been scouted. Now this is a young man at 9 years old.
Now, how old is he now?
Travels 9 years to present 14. So I'm assuming he's between 9 and 14. Her email, travel team since 9 years old. He's 14. He must be 14 now. So 4th in the nation in throwing velocity. He plays the position of catcher, and he's also a pitcher. What a combination.
And look, growing up, I always used to hear the shortest way or the quickest way to get to the major leagues or drafted is either being a pitcher or a catcher. Position players have it difficult because there's so many. But as far as, like Alex said, this kid can throw, 14 years old, and ranked nationally as far as how hard he throws.
4th in the nation.
Wow.
So he's already been scouted by Coastal Carolina Campbell in North Carolina, and he's been invited to a showcase in West Palm Beach where 9th grade players are being viewed by college scouts already. And at the end of the email, Joy adds, and he's cute, which a grandmother should say.
Always say.
Absolutely say. So I applaud Joy.
Yes.
Thank you for making it. You know what? And Carney, good luck. It sounds like you're extremely talented. We wish you all the best, and just keep driving forward. And I'm sure we're going to read about you. I'm sure.
Carney, just make sure you sign your contract with the New York Mets, because we're known for pitching. So I'm just telling you, kid, we got this. We got the juice. Don't worry about it. But that's great news, and I hope Joy keeps us updated on his progress. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to touch base briefly on college football. As you can see, I have a Rutgers helmet behind me. That's their alternate helmet with the state of New Jersey on it. They won their first 2 games against really no names. They beat, well, I shouldn't say no names. They beat Boston College, and then they beat Wagner of Staten Island. This week they played Temple, which should be a win. But then after this week, they get into the conference play, which is schools like Ohio State, Michigan. So the test will come. But so far, so good. I mean, it's early. And Alex, I'm trying to work tickets from my daughter, Stephanie, to get to a game up in Piscataway. Hopefully she can swing it. Maybe we'll do a show from there.
That would be awesome. You touch on college football. I love college football. Obviously, you can see it just says ASU, I think, dad. Both Priscilla and I had 2 daughters that graduated from Arizona State. But college football, I love it. Obviously, there were some great games this weekend. You had Alabama get knocked off their throne from Texas in the last seconds. So the AP top 25, I'm not going to give you the 25. I'll tell you the top 5 colleges. I'll give you actually Georgia sitting at number 1, Alabama dropping to 2. Oh, how I dread this. Because we have a young lady in the audience, and it's been a ongoing family difference.
Oh, I love this.
But sitting at number 3
Let's hear it, Alex.
is
Let's hear
the
it.
Ohio State Buckeyes.
Oh, I hate the Buckeyes too.
And, we lived in Arizona. We got children that graduated from Arizona State. We got son-in-laws that graduated from Louisville. We got son-in-laws that I believe went to Iowa.
Buckeyes.
University of Idaho, excuse me. And yet somehow my wife drags up that she's a lifetime fan of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Isn't that a front runner?
It drives me nuts. It really drives me nuts. So anyways, Ohio State sitting at number 3, followed by Michigan and Clemson. Those are your top 5.
And you know what's a surprise so far? On the opposite end, Notre Dame is 0-2. 0-2, and they lost to really not tough schools, but there you go. You never know. And they before the season started, they were ranked pretty, decent. I'm not going to say the top 10, but to start off the season 0-2, and for that program, I don't know how long the coach is going to last there. I'll tell you that much. So that's college football. Now, briefly, for our soccer fans, I'm just going to go down the standings because play is still going on. In the Italian League, I'm just going to name the top 5. Napoli is 1, Atlantis is 2, AC Milan is 3, Juventus is 4, and Roma is 5. Now, for you English soccer fans, which we have many in this village, and you always hear them, the top 5 are Arsenal, Manchester City, Diane, Nottingham, Brighton, and Manchester United. That ranks out as far as the top 5 in the Premier League. And that is it for soccer. Anything else, Alex?
No, Rob, I think, I think we pretty much, for right now, have covered, unless you have something else to share. I would encourage all of you to keep sending those emails in. We'd love to hear from you. Maybe you, like I said, we'd love to hear about your grandchildren or a relative of some sort. We'd love to share that. We'd love to talk about that local sport and those village folks that have, that have a family member that plays sports. It's just, that's how we got to talking about all these professionals. They had to start somewhere. So we love sharing your stories. I'm sure you'll see our email addresses on the bottom of the screens. Feel free to email Rob and I anything you want.
So really, once again, guys, thanks for joining us. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Maureen. Everyone here at KLVW-TV. And remember, keep it between the lines.
Watches this primetime show. New York, Nashville, San Francisco. We love to watch the kickoff as the game begins. Pretty cheerleaders and last-minute wins. The screaming crowd and the linebacker stare. Scrambling quarterbacks and receivers in the air. Big hits are coming, the backs are cutting inside. Everybody turns it up Monday night.